Hello everyone! So today I want to talk about an ETF which I am going to be buying tomorrow when the markets open. If you're new to the channel, which you are because this is the second video, I'm not a professional investor or analyst, definitely not a financial advisor. I am a CEO of a gaming company and I got into investing a few months ago, so I've been learning pretty seriously since then, and I have a bet with my co-founder who can make more money investing in a year. So while we're waiting for Ben to open his accounts, I wanted to cheat and start early and do this through YouTube because this will be more fun. So, if you want to join on this journey, subscribe, bell, like, press everything YouTube lets you press. We'll be uploading videos every day. So let's jump into it today. Basically, a few months ago, when I started investing, I wanted to learn. So I went on YouTube and, the whole GameStop story was happening. And I told my friend that I have a great idea. And the idea was that basically some stocks are creating buzz, which you can see on YouTube and Reddit and other things like that. So without knowing anything about the stock market, I'm just gonna buy into those. And I'm gonna ride them for a week or two or until I make 10%. I had all kinds of different ideas. But then I'm gonna just sell them after 2 weeks. Started doing that. Maybe I'll do another video about how that went. It was an interesting experience. But the interesting thing I learned a couple of days ago is that actually someone did this, but seriously. And this is an ETF. Now, I'm guessing you know what an ETF is. In case you don't, it's basically investing in a group of stocks instead of just one stock. So the most famous one is, S&P 500, which is an index, but you can invest in an ETF which is basically like tied to the index. So you're investing into the 500 biggest companies in the US. But by the same logic, you can do different groups of stocks. And this one is really interesting. This one is called Buzz, B-U-Z-Z, and they are doing exactly that. They have an AI program that is scanning the internet and checking which stocks people are talking about. So in theory, if a lot of people suddenly start talking about GME, right, it should have bought GME, and then on one hand you're not exposed to as much risk as you are just investing in GME, because ETFs are usually considered more less risky, but at the same time you get all the pluses of this hype and Reddit and Wall Street bets and all those types of things. And that sounds great. I was super excited about that. Then I started finding out the problems with this ETF, and there are a few that I want to bring up. Again, I will be buying some tomorrow. That I already decided to do that, and probably start averaging in. But here's what I found. So their AI kind of scans the internet for Reddit, YouTube, and Twitter, so on, checking which stocks people are now talking about. So which stocks have buzz, so they might go up in price, right? The logic is pretty simple. The thing is, a few things that we need to keep in mind. First, they are only investing in US-based stocks, which isn't a problem for me. They are investing in 75 stocks at a time, which makes sense. And then we get to the most interesting / problematic thing that I found is that all the stocks that they're investing in are companies that have to have a market cap of over $5 billion. So on one hand, people are getting super excited because, oh, this was like a safe way, or like a nice way to catch GME, which obviously everyone wish they would have done that. Which this is a crazy story. I'll do another video on it, but I I actually own GME, which I bought for 9 and sold for 18 like 5 months ago, and I was super proud of myself for, you know, doubling my money. And then I saw what happened to GME and I was like, oh. But that's a different story. So in reality, while people are kind of excited about this possibility of we can like invest in this ETF and catch the next GME, the reality is that you won't, because they only invest in $5 billion companies. And at the moment, I think GME is sitting around 5. Okay, so at the moment it's 18, but still it would have missed it. And then what they're gonna do is basically change those stocks every month, which I kind of like this logic. I saw a few YouTube videos that kind of went against this, but I have to say that I think investing like that, like while there is the buzz around the stock, is a smart move. Again, not a financial advisor. I don't know. Probably I know about stocks less than you guys, but in my mind, it makes sense and it's the right move to do. And if I would build this algorithm, I would probably do it the same way. I was thinking 2 weeks before I knew this existed. A month also makes sense for me. And then we can go on their website, which is Invest with Buzz, with a thingy here. And there's actually nothing interesting here, but we can go to the performance and holdings, and on their website they're showing this graph, which is them compared to S&P 500, right? And as we can see, they are doing much better. Now, this, I have to say, the ETF opened 5 days ago or 6 days ago. So this is basically like a simulation, so to speak, if I understand it correctly. But we can, on one hand, see that, you know, this is a lot better than S&P, right? On the other hand, I have to say a few things. Looking at graphs like that is a bit of a, you know, the survivor bias type of situation, where basically you're seeing the things that will convince you to do whatever the company or whoever is showing it to you wants you to do. So like, if that wasn't the case, for example, obviously they wouldn't have shown this, right? So okay, it's a nice thing to know. On the other hand, if we look like more closely, there are some small warning signs here that I can kind of get, because as you can see, obviously they kind of behave the same, but look at the last few weeks, like you know, this market correction or crash or whatever. Look at S&P, which is barely moved, like obviously it did, but the move is pretty small, versus this, which is kind of like, you know, collapsing. So whatever we're gonna see in the market in this ETF, we can see it more, expect to see it more volatile and more extreme, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but it's something to be aware of. And then if we're gonna go to the holdings and look which companies they've invested in, I have to say I was kind of surprised, because for me, I'm kind of, you know, having fun with investing, so I'm really enjoying the whole, let's invest according to what people think and read about new stocks and new companies and new stories and stuff like that. And when I heard about this ETF, I was super excited, and then this list is not exactly what I imagined, because it has DraftKings, that makes sense, but then Ford, Twitter, Facebook, American Airlines, Amazon, Apple, basic Netflix, Tesla, you know, like basically huge companies, and I'm kind of missing AT&T, and Zynga, which is, as I said, I'm like managing a gaming company. This is kind of amazing that this still exists and is a big stock, but all right. So obviously, like, you know, Nvidia, Intel, stuff which is kind of like, I don't know if I need this ETF to pick up on these stocks, you know what I mean? Like, I don't see anything here that I couldn't think for myself to invest in, like the GME example. And this is a bit off-putting to me. Again, it doesn't mean that it is, and again, I'm still gonna buy into this because this is a super cool experiment. But I mean, if I'm to look on my portfolio, for example, right, I'm missing a lot of like things that I'm interested in, not even invested in, but I would expect to see stocks like, I don't know, Mara, Workhorse, CTRM, IND, HD, HCMC, ChargePoint, CCIV, stuff like that, which is kind of what I think we all in the YouTube, Reddit, whatever world are now looking at. And all of those are missing, probably because a lot of them are under 5 billion. And this is kind of a big minus that I found. Like I kind of, ideally, if I would build this ETF, I would build it like that. You know what I mean? And again, it's probably a mistake because whoever built this is smarter than me, and this thing is getting promoted by this Portnoy guy, which I'm not gonna talk about him, but I will say that he has the best name ever because Portnoy is the drummer of Dream Theater, which are the best band in the world. And if you don't think that, so maybe you shouldn't be following this channel because your taste in music is not great. And if you don't know Dream Theater, just go check them out because they're awesome. So anyway, that's like, if I would to build this ETF, I would buy into it hoping to go for the more extreme, you know what I mean? Like I would be looking for this volatility, I would be looking for this risk. Obviously I'm going here because I don't want to go to S&P 500 and I'm looking for something more special, and taking this idea of like investing according to Buzz, which is the name, to the extreme. And I actually think that this is not doing it enough, even though I get the logic of reducing risk and smaller companies are more problematic and so on. I get it. But again, ideally, at least I would want to see like this, the safer version of this, and another one which is like the actual, we're just investing into whatever Reddit and YouTube tells us to, even if it's like penny stocks and really weird risky stocks. That I would invest in a heartbeat without really, like I would put a lot of money on it just because it's such a cool experiment. Another small thing to note here is that their expense ratio is 0.75. It's fairly on the high side. It's not insane. Those are basically fees that you're paying to them, and it's kind of funny because they're saying that they're not taking fees, but this is the the form in which they take fees, and it doesn't sound like a lot, and it probably like it isn't. But just to compare it with Vanguard's S&P, we have 0.03%. So obviously that's a lot higher than that. And I don't know if that's a reason not to invest, but it is something to be aware of. And the last weird thing I want to bring up is another reason I kind of want to invest into this, and that's just the name. Now, I know this will sound stupid, and you'll be like, hey, this like weird guy who, to begin with, doesn't know a lot about stocks is like taking this, but I am actually doing a lot of research before I invest, as I encourage everyone to do, obviously. And again, I'm here to learn for fun. So, fun fact, stocks with catchy names, how would you guess they're doing versus stocks that are not? Let's take stocks like DOC and GOM or whatever random name we have, and compare them to like, Pizza or YOLO or Cash or Moon, right? Stuff like that. So a study showed that on average, and I'm guessing that if you didn't know this fact, you would never guess that. On average, like I was blown away. On average, the stocks with the more catchy names did 13.2% better than stocks with, normal, like, or not cool, catchy, hot, buzzy names, if you will. And buzz is a great buzzword, which is funny, right? But really, like, since I read this research, I kind of decided that I'm actually gonna try and take this into account, and whenever I see something with a catchy name, I will, think to myself, there is a potential plus here, and it has like a 13.2% advantage over other stocks. Now, I will say, I started doing this like maybe 2 months ago. I've invested into Moon and YOLO, and that did not go well so far. Then again, I have to say that it's also like, during the whole market correction thing. So I'm still giving it a chance, and in the long run, it should pay off. So yeah, that was pretty much Buzz. I'm buying into it tomorrow, and I think it's a very interesting experience. As I said, I wish it was more extreme, and I'm gonna keep bringing up interesting stocks until Ben will wake up and open his account so we can start our bet. But until then, I'm hoping to show cool and interesting stocks to you guys to consider. If you like the videos, I'm still figuring things out. As you probably saw, I was working on like a cool intro today, but so I'm like setting up the channel. But this should be a very fun journey. If you like what I'm doing, the subscribe, bell, like, comment, tell me why I'm an idiot and why Buzz is a stupid idea to begin with. I really do believe the best way to learn is people yelling at you that you're stupid for doing something, and I love to hear that. So I guess I'll see you at the next video, and let's hope for a great and green Monday tomorrow.